My husband's ex wore her wedding dress to my wedding because I asked her to.
It's the bride for thee and the bride for me?
Ooh. Well, last weekend, my husband, 27 male, and I, 30 female, got married. Congrats.
Congrats.
It was a great wedding, and I had a great time leading up to it. There's only been one thing that's left a sour taste in my mouth.
It's all the sour candy I ate.
Ooh, by the way, this comes from Wedding Dress Throw 11, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So growing up, I always wanted a big princess wedding. I know some people see those as tacky and immature, but it was always my dream. You know what? You deserve your dream, OP. As part of this, the theme of the wedding was ballroom.
Nice. Just a room for balls.
I feel like that's being like, my flavor for this cake is vanilla.
Yeah.
That's what it gives. And I told everyone to wear the nicest things they owned and told the women in particular to try to outshine me, quote unquote. Put some ICUs in the chat. I even went as far as telling the married women to wear their wedding dresses.
Okay. This is an interesting thing to do.
We're all getting married.
We are getting married.
We are getting married. All 50 of us.
I do. No. We do.
Oh, God. I didn't care about being outdressed. Instead, all I wanted was to fulfill the aesthetic in my head that I had for the wedding, which included everyone else looking nothing less than extravagant. And no, before people ask, I don't regret my decision. It was really special to see my mom, aunts, and bridesmaids all in their own dresses on my big day. It kind of felt like they were passing the torch on to me, and I really enjoyed that experience. Now on to my husband's friend. My husband has this friend I will call Kate, 27 female. Kate is my husband's childhood friend and first love. First love is at the wedding.
Oh no. Does Kate have a wedding dress?
Oh, it's too perfect. My husband comes from a small town, and the majority of his friends he's known since adolescence. In their senior year of high school, Kate and my husband got engaged. There we go. So ex-fiance too.
So it's an ex-fiance at your wedding. She's going to probably wear the dress she bought to marry your husband. That's going to be totally fun.
Ooh.
Fun, right?
Sophia, how do we feel about that?
Uh-oh.
Do we love that? Is that the greatest thing ever?
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Now, this is kind of normal where they're from to get engaged in high school, a senior year. They called off the wedding and never went through with it. It was mutual. They felt they were growing up too fast and wanted to slow down. The calling off the wedding was the end of the relationship, but they stayed friends. I knew this information prior to getting with my husband and never had a problem or felt jealous because I'm friends with a few exes myself. In fact, 2 of my exes were invited to our wedding.
Okay.
We're having an ex off. Who can invite the most exes and ex-fiancés?
They just got confused about what Xmas was supposed to be.
Oh, God.
Wait, is Mass? No, Mass isn't about weddings, is it? I'm looking at our resident Catholic.
That's a choice.
Yeah, Mass is just, there's no
wedding.
Wait, what?
There's not a Mass for weddings.
Yeah.
Right? There is?
The ceremony is the... Well,
Oh, they call that a Mass?
No, it's not a... Well, no, yeah, it wouldn't be a Mass. It would be a ceremony in the
Dang
church.
it. Okay, I was trying to see if my joke made sense or not. It still doesn't.
No.
Because I said an X-Mass. Like the
Christmas?
like the Mass being... Because there's all these X's and it was at their wedding, but a wedding's not a Mass. And I don't know that because I'm not the Pope.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. It is a ceremony in a church, though, sometimes.
Yes. Okay. Point being, what are we doing?
Dakota's not the Pope. Newsflash.
Why are we making our wedding on extreme mode? Why are we doing this?
We have to invite all of our exes, Dakota. That's the only attendees available.
Yes, that's what matters most.
That's all we're doing. One of my exes was my bridesmaid. I'm bi. And the other was invited as a guest along with his current girlfriend. I've never had a problem with Kate being my husband's ex, but I have had a problem with Kate as a person, as she is kind of witchy and gossips like she is still in high school. A few examples of this are, just a month into our relationship, she confessed to my husband she still has some lingering feelings. Well, to which he responded that they had already tried and it didn't work. He said that if she brought it up again, he would cut her off out of respect for me. I wasn't that mad at the time because I understood they had a long history and my relationship with him was just starting out. And she owed it to herself to see if there was anything still there before it was too late.
Okay, sorry. I was like, she told you she still had feelings for your fiance right before you got married. She's still going to the wedding.
A few months into the relationship, but still.
This was before that, but it's like immediately like, oh, okay, so we should like really take some time and space so that you can like just get back to zero with me. Right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not just like, oh, like, that's just Kate being Kate.
It's just, why are we making our wedding about everyone we used to date?
Because it's got to be John and Kate plus 8 of your exes. 2000s TV reference.
Yes,
That's mine. Dakota had some the other day.
Early 2000s lifestyle TV.
Let's go.
Gemstone.
However, after she was turned down, her attitude towards me changed to fake nice and started calling me things like cougar or asking me how I was expected to make a relationship work as I want to be an anesthesiologist, which would require long work hours. God forbid a woman work and be married.
God forbid a woman be a hardworking anesthesiologist.
This is illegal. She would also tell my husband's whole friend group how she doesn't like my loud personality. And when I confronted her about all of those things, she would just say, oh, it was just a joke. Or you're so loud, I felt like you would just go off.
Go off.
What does that even mean? I don't understand.
I just don't like the thing of it's like, no, that thing I said about your personality was just a joke.
Yeah.
I said without you around.
Exactly.
It's not a joke. You're just insulting me.
It's like if you said to your close friend that you're wearing circus pants, but it's meant in a good way.
To be fair, that's not what I said. I said...
Actually, to be fair... Sorry, it's not on me. To be fair, you were in the room.
What do you mean?
John was in the room when you said those pants look like circus pants.
Right, in here is where I said they were circus pants.
No, you said...
Downstairs, I did not call them circus pants when I first saw them.
I was in the room.
No.
You said, yes, John was in there with his pants, and you said, those pants look like circus pants. John didn't hear you. I heard you, and I said, those pants look cool.
No, John was outside.
No, John was there.
Christian heard me say they were circus pants.
I heard you say, and John was there. John didn't hear.
Well, we'll never know the truth.
We will never know.
We'll never know other than...
Either way, John didn't hear.
That John's pants rock. All right.
I like them, John.
And I'd
for real.
fight him for those pants. Because I've also always envied the pinstripe pants. I had a pair
That's cool.
that I had to get rid of.
Drop some pinstripe pants in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. There's more crap, but if I typed it all, I would never get to the point. Now, Kate has her own husband that I'll call Gerald. Kate and Gerald both make average in terms of finances, as they're both teachers. Kate teaches kindergarten and Gerald teaches seniors. They got married last year. Okay, so Kate is married. On a teacher's salary, Kate wasn't able to afford the most luxurious wedding dress out there, but I always had the impression that she was happy with it. Kate does have another wedding dress from when she was going to marry my husband that her dad paid for, who has unfortunately passed now, which in terms of fanciness is a bit nicer, but obviously she didn't want to wear that dress to her own wedding. Yeah, that makes sense. I was expecting Kate to wear the wedding dress that she wore to her own wedding to ours, but when I looked and saw her, she had the wedding dress she was supposed to wear when she was going to get married to my husband.
Oops.
Poll. A-hole or not?
No.
No?
Oh, is Kate the a-hole?
Is Kate the a-hole?
No.
Yes.
No.
Kate's not the a-hole?
No, OP asked for this. OP
and that's
asked
the debate
for this.
Sophia, real quick, what's your take?
I think that it would be hard for OP to necessarily call her out on it, but think it's pretty weird. I'd probably be, if I were the husband, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to have a relationship with you in any way now. To the, this ex fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she got asked. I agree. No more relationship with me because you want to marry me. But wifey better not be mad because she expressly approved this.
We're literally 50-50 split in chat. Oh, now it's more the a-hole, but comment below what you think. We're gonna keep on rolling here. So when I saw her, I immediately went, what the F? But decided to just drop it because I didn't want a conflict on our wedding day.
You mean you dropped it because it's what you asked for? Sorry, it's the last time I'll say that.
My husband, however, was also confused on why she wore that one and asked her about it without me even having to tell him I was uncomfortable. She responded with, well, your wife wanted such a big princess wedding. I thought I'd wear this one because it follows the theme more. Don't tell me she's upset about it. She's the one who said, come in your nicest clothes. And this is my nicest dress.
pretty telling that OP hasn't said anything yet.
Ooh.
The husband brought it up, and then she immediately was like, oh, don't tell me your wife is upset. She wanted her wife to be upset. She wanted OP to be upset.
But isn't that also exactly what OP had just said? Where it's
but
like,
OP never expressed it. OP never expressed it.
right, but the dress she was going to marry my husband in is nicer than the one she wore.
No, but I'm not saying like her reasoning is necessarily wrong. I'm saying that she said immediately, the first thing that she said to OP's husband was, oh, don't tell me that she's upset.
Well, of course. Of course. But she's on brand for your theme.
I don't know.
She's on
It's a tough
brand
one.
for ballroom.
Why are you defending her so hard, Dakota?
If she didn't ask for it, I wouldn't have to.
If you love her so much, why don't you just marry her in her dress?
I think she's wrong for doing it. I don't think she's right for trying to like guilt the husband into whatever she's trying to do.
Yeah.
To worm her way back in is foolish and not going to work, but it'd be like if you got mad at someone for wearing a red dress to your wedding when you said everyone should wear red. Then you're like, why are you wearing red?
But I think the point is that OP hasn't said anything yet, you know? Like, yes,
What do you mean?
she's internally angry. She has not told anyone that she's angry.
Wait, yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's see it. Let's see if OP
Yes.
gets angry. OP says, I feel like I'm not allowed to be upset, even though I am. Oh. And I know that this is my fault, but the whole thing has left a really bad taste in my mouth. I would have never been okay with her wearing that one if I had known she was going to, and I feel like she should have asked. I keep telling myself it's not that big of a deal, and during the daytime, when I'm distracted, I don't even think about it, but I've always been a night owl and makes me feel crappy every time I think about it before I fall asleep. Wow, this is staying on Opie's
She
mind.
must have looked real good. Sorry you got outshined.
Ouch. Oops. That's tough. So now I'm here complaining on Reddit like a loser, and I feel pathetic. Oh, don't say that, OP. But we do have an update. We're about halfway through this story, but many more in this episode. Dakota. It is on her mind every time she goes to sleep. Do we reach out and say something? If you're OP.
To who?
to
A past version of myself?
to Kate.
And I go, hey, first of all, let's not invite anyone's ex-fiance to the wedding. First move. Didn't marry you. I'm marrying this other person. You're not coming.
Yeah.
Person I was going to marry.
Yep.
And yeah, then also if you make wear your wedding dress part of the dress code, and then one of the ex-fiancés in question wears her beautiful wedding dress she was going to use for your husband, and then you go, I feel bad. You need to just look in the mirror. That's what you need to do. Look in the mirror and go, I did this. And slowly chip away at that until you're okay with it.
What say you, Sophia?
I think that, yeah, maybe if we had a little bit of hindsight, could have maybe seen this coming. However, I think trying to be solution oriented, I think that you should talk to your husband about this and say, yeah, that was weird, right? That was strange that she brought up that, does it bother your wife before I even mentioned anything? And maybe we don't continue a relationship with this person.
I do think that it's not a huge logical gap for her to be like, is your wife upset?
However,
at the weird wedding where all these women are wearing wedding dresses and you're her ex-fiance, it's like, is she upset?
but if it's not a huge logical gap, then why didn't she ask before? Why didn't she make
Because
that
she was
logical?
told. She's like,
I don't know. I'm sorry.
am
I think it is pretty self-explanatory that you don't wear the dress that you were gonna wear with
of course
the groom of a different wedding.
In every other wedding story we've read, this would be immediately the most unhinged thing you could
But
ever
she's
do.
got two
except
wedding dresses.
The invitation said, hey, by the way, wear your wedding dress.
She's using that. She's using that as a tool, I think, to be able to wear the other wedding dress, which, again, on
It's
paper,
the nicer one, though.
it is.
That's what she's saying. We don't know that.
OP said that. OP agrees.
But like, put yourself in Kate's shoes. Would you be like, okay, yes, I do technically have a nicer dress, but I'm not going to wear the dress that I was going to marry her now husband in.
Right.
Like,
true. That's
I'll just do the wedding dress.
Pretty bold move. However, I would just not be inviting ex-fiancés to the wedding. I don't know. It's like
also that. Yes.
Yes.
it's like I can't even think of an example. It's like it's jumping in the mud puddle and then going, where'd all this mud come from? You signed up for this.
I do think it's a one point I will make is this is not her fiance or ex-fiance. This is her husband's ex-fiance. So
look, I also want to make it clear.
Invite her.
I'm seeing comments and people are like, I'm not understanding her underhanded mentality. I do. I get it. I don't approve of her doing it, but it's like I can't call her an a-hole because it was literally the uniform.
Yeah, I can call her an a-hole.
Yeah, you know what? I think I will go a-hole because she's
It's weird. It's
she's
goofy.
using the rules as a weapon.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's what it is. Even though again, technically it was technically okay, morally not okay. Someone said in chat. Yeah, I think yeah. But it's hard. But I don't think OP. It's hard to like let OP get mad at her, I guess, quote unquote, because not let OP get mad at her, but like she did follow the rules. So
You literally set up like a crap buffet for yourself, and then you said, "Why does this taste so bad?" It's you did it.
To be fair, she didn't specifically say everyone wear a wedding dress. She said outshine me.
Yeah, and she was like, "Do it. Wear your wedding dress."
Yeah, and she said, yeah, married people wear your wedding dresses.
And that's their
stuff.
shiniest dress.
Sure.
we have an update, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive into it. Hello, guys. Here's the update. So I talked to my husband about it this morning, and when I brought it up, he immediately let out a sigh of relief. He said, I didn't know how to bring it up because you didn't seem bothered, but when I saw her in that dress, I thought it was very weird that she wore that one. He went on to say that he even considered asking her to leave because he thought it was rude, but because I had no reaction to the dress, he thought that I either didn't care or didn't recognize it. But either way, I do wonder how she recognized it, but besides the point. Either way, if I wasn't bothered, he didn't want to disturb my peace of mind by punting her out. We discussed and we're going to have a talk with her, not just about the dress, but about her treatment of me in general.
I'm sorry, this is just so ridiculous to me. Because imagine you do kick her out for wearing that dress, and then the conversation becomes, "Wow, OP really kicked her out because she outshined her. She really asked to be outshined and then kicked out the girl who outshined her."
I think there's a
So you
difference
lose no matter
between
what.
outshining and wearing the dress that you were gonna wear with her fiance.
Bottom line, if there's any situation in which any of your wedding goers wearing their wedding dress is going to actually upset you instead of be like this cool little fun theme thing that you're doing, don't do it. Or don't invite your husband's ex-fiance.
But we have to invite all of our exes.
Your
We
fault.
have to do it.
Squarely your fault. I cannot be mad at Katie. I can't.
I can be mad at Katie.
Go ahead.
I can be mad.
I think I'm a
I
little
think
mad
she's
at
a
Katie.
goofy. She's a goofy for doing this.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a goofy move. It was on the invitation.
It is true. It was on the invitation. She followed the rules. She followed the rules, ladies and gentlemen. And explained that going forward, she will not be a friend in our lives. Cutting off.
Good.
After this talk, I decided to let it go and focus on my new marriage. This was a small thing, and now, after I've talked it out with my husband, I feel kind of silly I let it bother me this much. I'm at peace. She will no longer be in our lives, and that is enough for me. Someone said, you gave her the chance to wear the dress her dad got her and gave her as a gift. That was kind of a moment for me because no matter what her intentions were, that is true, and I'm glad that she got to have that moment.
Oh, I see. So it was kind of like a moment. She's like, oh, wait. I guess that is kind of special. Huh. Which, okay.
Right,
Yeah,
'cause
whatever you need to do to get to okay with this
Yeah.
is whatever you need to do.
Yeah, I guess it's because her dad passed away and it's like, oh, I'm wearing this. Yeah, he
Right.
gave me. Right. End of update. The rest of this is just answering questions and explaining what the wedding looked like. We do have more. A commonly asked question is, how did we even know what the dress looked like? I said it in a few comments, but I've seen it a couple of times before in her closet. Usually when my friends, I was wondering that too. Usually when my husband's friends group hangs out, the guys all get ready at one of their places and all the girls get ready at one of our places. Then we all meet up to wherever we're going, whether that's a pub crawl, a concert, a music festival, etc., etc. Kate hosts pretty regularly, And it's during those times that I've seen it in her closet while she looks for something to wear. And when she got married to Gerald, she put her other wedding dress right next to the high school one. As for my husband, I asked him about that today, and he said when they broke up, Kate asked if he wanted to see the dress since there was no point in hiding it anymore, and he said yes. Wow, and he remembered that dress from like 15 years ago from seeing it once.
Must have been a pretty stunning.
Is that suspicious, chat?
No, I don't.
Is that suspicious, chat?
I think not.
I think maybe, chat. What do we think? And then when they told their friends the news, the friends also wanted to see the dress, so she put it on for them too. And ladies and gentlemen, OP said that the updates were over, but we've got update number 2.
He's a dirty little fibber.
Ooh, a little liar. Pretty little liar. Hi, so I don't know if anyone still cares or still remembers of my post, but I thought I'd make another update here. Before I go in, I would just like to make a disclaimer that these are all things my husband and I heard through mutual friends/connections, so who knows how much of this information has been dramatized for gossip.
Hearsay. We've got hearsay.
We've got a whole lot.
Let's go.
Through the grapevine, organic. When my husband talked to, I think I called her Kate in this post, she reacted as expected and started calling me a jealous and controlling wife to anyone who would listen. We didn't let her bother us though. Neither I nor my husband knew this, but apparently Kate and her husband Gerald have been struggling for quite some time and have been going to couples therapy. Ooh. So did Kate see this as her like absolute Hail Mary, just wear the dress to their wedding, and she's so stunning that OP's husband is like, I just got to marry you right now. I got to dump OP on the spot and just marry you because you look so gosh darn delicious.
Nah, dude. She simply followed the instructions. Okay. Here's an example, right?
Okay, one example. Let's go.
You throw a party, you say, everybody bring your dog.
Okay.
Everybody bring your dog. Bring your bring all your dogs.
Okay, great.
Everybody brings their dogs, and all their dogs are maybe a little small.
Mm-hmm.
They're like little small, medium-sized dogs.
Yep.
And then you have a friend who brings like the Great Bernard dog. Just a massive dog.
Big boy.
And everyone's like, whoa, look at this person pulling up with their dog like everybody else was told to do. Just because it's a different dog. Now this person's wrong. And regardless of if the vibe of a bunch of Chihuahuas and one St. Bernard makes any sense or not, you asked for this. So I cannot, in clear conscience. Look, clearly she's being scummy. It's a scumbag move by Katie.
It is.
So, I don't know. Again, look in that mirror.
Look in that mirror.
No, find who's responsible. That's where you look.
I would say she like basically allowed it to happen. I'll give you that. She set the stage for it to happen, for sure.
Dude, if I have an ex-fiance, she's not coming to my actual wedding. I don't care how long it's been. She's not going to be there.
Not going to happen.
No. Especially if the wardrobe is wear your wedding dress.
We shall see. We shall see what happens to Kate and OP.
God dang it.
When my husband cut her off, Gerald sat down and asked him if he really thought that Kate wore that dress out of spite, and my husband answered truthfully and said yes. We thought Gerald asked because he thought we were being ridiculous, but I guess he was wondering the same thing himself because he brought up that whole wedding dress thing in their therapy. Uh-oh, now we're teaming up with whole Gerald over here.
Gerald spelled in the most annoying way I've ever seen, Gerald.
That's true. In their most recent session, it's being said that Kate finally admitted that she always thought of my husband as the one guy who got away, and that she wore the dress out of spite and not just because it was her fanciest or because of sentimental value.
Shocking.
We figured it out. We've got it, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, yes, that's the intent. And it still doesn't matter to me.
What?
It still doesn't matter.
She could have chose the other dress,
because you could have just
intent makes you the a-hole.
But if she showed up and she was uninvited, a-hole. If this wasn't part of the vibe, a-hole.
I'm gonna change your little example.
Uh-oh.
This is like if you throw a party and everyone invites the little Chihuahuas and you have a Saint Bernard that you know likes to eat up little Chihuahuas. You're like, ooh, this dog loves to eat up little Chihuahuas. And then you bring the dog and it eats up all the little Chihuahuas.
Okay.
And then you're like, you told me to bring the dog.
So what if on the instructions it said, I bet you think your big dog can eat our chihuahuas, but it can't. I dare you to try. And then you show up with your St. Bernard and everyone goes, whoa, look at this monster. Dude, I'm sorry.
That's not what it said.
You wrote it on the invitation.
No,
She said, wear your best dress and outshine me.
I think it would have been like, bring your biggest dogs.
So regardless,
Any big dog is fine.
Regardless of Katie's intent at this point, which I agree is wrong and bad, the fact that the entire setup was do this thing to me, it's just don't invite your husband's ex-fiance. Because then she's going to wear a dress.
I do agree with that part.
Like, so what are we doing? I'm more upset at the people who set this whole thing up rather than the chaotic little gremlin in the mix that we all knew. We all should have known was going to do something like this. But why did we give them the silver platter to do it on and then get mad about it?
All right, keep going.
You invited the vampire into your house. That's what it is. You invited the vampire into your home and you're saying, why is the vampire draining the blood out of my veins?
Well, we've got more to this story.
Here we go.
Her husband, Gerald, then asked her if she would go back to my husband if he decided to divorce me. She said no, but apparently she hesitated, and Gerald knew that she was lying. Again, that is what my husband and I have been told, so I don't know how much of that is accurate, but it's being said from multiple people that is what Gerald is telling anyone who will ask. Whoa, Gerald's spilling these secrets.
Gerald's spilling beans, dude.
Gerald spilling the jar. What I do know for sure is that Gerald is filing for divorce. Oh no. He's already served her and is taking her to court in a few months as she's trying to fight to have ownership of some of his assets. Since this all came out, I've had a load of apologies from people who said rude things about me or stopped being friends with me after my husband and I agreed to cut off Kate. Most people who had known her for a while believed what she was saying about me and no longer wanted to associate themselves with me after causing unnecessary high school drama. Their tunes have obviously changed, but I'm not interested in forming relationships with anyone who gossiped or didn't believe me. The whole thing was so dramatic for no reason.
That always really bothers me because it's like, get in front of it then. I don't know. It's like being like, well, I just won't say anything. And then everyone gets all mad and upset. It's like, yeah, because you should have said something.
Yeah, it's tough though, because it's like sometimes you're like, okay, I don't want to like, I don't even though they wronged me, I don't want to like put them on blast. I just want to like move on. But then the other person goes and
just reach out to people, DMs. Yeah, you don't make it a public war or anything. You just like
do
some level of damage control because just all pure passiveness is like, yeah, then it just gets more messed up because you let this person run around and say whatever they want.
It does run the risk of that every time. It does run the risk of that. So anyways, I just thought I'd write this for if any of you are still curious for more info, but on to some pictures. I'm not going to post any, but I will explain how it looked for those who wanted to know. So firstly, lots of people showed up in wedding dresses, and that was absolutely beautiful. One thing my friends from college did was a 50s Marilyn Monroe type glam, and it was a killer. One of the staff was able to find a red carpet, and we took a bunch of black and white photos on them. I had about 5 girls wear their quince dresses, which was gorgeous. Finally, some parents decided to dress their little girls up in actual princess costumes, which I thought was really cute. And by the way, you know what the cutest thing in the world is, Dakota?
Yes.
Our podcast.
Indeed.
You can binge over 2,000 episodes by going to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and just searching OK Storytime. Binge to your heart's delight. Never run out of content. I basically can promise you that. You start today. But ladies and gentlemen, we are so close to the finale of this story, but we got way more in store for this episode, so stay tuned. The guys also dressed really well too. One guy did a sequin tux. Quite a few went for a rock star type suit. My husband's best man went for this really gorgeous red velvet tux.
Ooh.
And my dress was this really shimmery, really poofy ball gown type dress with a flower design on the veil that I got custom made for me. Then I had it designed where I could actually unattach the poofy part of the dress for the reception. And by doing that, it turned into a long, sleek, white, shimmery dress with a leg slit. That does sound like a fire dress. And that is it.
Now describe Kate's dress.
Yeah, she didn't. Oh, it was too hot.
And
It was
Kate's
too hot.
dress was just, imagine really all of this just comes down to she's just mad that her dress was just excellent.
She's just too hot.
She like doesn't eat all the stuff about like, and she's the ex-fiance and all this stuff. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, really, she's just like, she really did look great in that dress. And I did not like it.
It's just undeniable. It's just undeniable. But
Yes.
you know what's the only thing that's hotter than Kate in her dress?
You.
This next story.
I disagree. I think both of those things can be hotter than
Ooh,
Kate in her dress.
Ooh.
That's right, folks. My husband got jealous during our wedding because of a girl from his past.
Uh-oh, this sounds familiar.
I, 25 female, got married to my husband, 24 male, Jim, a week ago after dating for 2.5 years. Jim has a friend called Misha, 22 female, who was invited to the wedding. He and Misha have known each other since high school and were close friends, and Misha had a very obvious crush on Jim from what he and others who know them have told me. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Wedding Night, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit.
Hey.
And if you know people have crushes on your partners, don't invite them to your wedding.
Ooh.
So, Jim told me this after I met Misha for the first time and confessed that he leaned into her crush and led her on throughout their high school years and for a little while after, before we got together, because he was struggling with his mental health and he really liked her attention. He seemed genuinely guilty about all of that because he thought Misha was a nice girl and a good friend. And because he showed guilt, I didn't feel the need to bring it up or argue about it, despite thinking it was a crappy thing to do. Plus, Misha is a nice girl who has never overstepped boundaries and has been nothing but kind and friendly towards me. And I now consider her a friend too. Misha moved away to the city last year and has done really well for herself and has a long-term boyfriend who none of us have met yet. So when it came to sending wedding invites, I told her she was welcome to bring him as her plus one.
Is it the boyfriend from Canada?
Yeah.
Is this the boyfriend from camp?
He's a boyfriend from another school across town. You guys don't know him. So the first red flag came when Jim was weirdly resistant to the idea of Misha bringing her boyfriend, but he excused it on being concerned about the number of guests we invited, and the matter was dropped. Sophia, you got a thought over there?
He wants to marry Misha.
Ooh. He wants a Misha marriage.
He wants to marry Misha.
A Misha marriage.
Oh my God. When the wedding day came, Misha showed up in this beautiful dress, nothing inappropriate for a wedding, and with her boyfriend on her arm, who I'll admit is a very handsome guy. Think a Kit Harington type. Say, McQueen. It's McQueen.
What's that accent?
As Kit Harington saying McQueen in Game of Thrones. Anyway.
Wait, who is Kit Harington?
Kit Harington is Jon Snow.
Ah, yes.
She's also lost weight and has a haircut that suits her better, and I thought she looked great. We also found out throughout the night that her boyfriend is very successful and earns more than practically anyone else who attended.
I bet you... Is that because they told you that?
Who knows? Throughout the reception, I noticed Jim glaring at Misha and her boyfriend the whole time, and he was really cold and short towards her when she came over to congratulate us and give us a gift.
Well, it's cold and short up north.
Oof, yeah.
Got him.
I know that's right. He was also straight up kind of rude to her boyfriend when Misha introduced us to him. When his mom, who has always known and liked Misha, mentioned that she was glad Misha found a great guy and praised her boyfriend for being so nice, Jim snapped, at least she won't be desperate, and hung up on me for the rest of her life, which I thought was cruel and uncalled for.
Oh, God.
Jimbo, what are we doing? What are we doing, Jimbo?
Yeah, at least she'll finally get over me, I guess.
Oh, Jimmy.
Not good.
However, I didn't challenge him because I didn't want to argue at my wedding, despite the fact that he frankly sounded bitter. The whole thing has left an awful taste in my mouth, and I can't help but think that Jim got jealous that Misha has found a guy who's honestly quite a catch, who she's clearly very in love with, and is now completely over Jim. We have a little half update here. After getting some PMs from people, I decided to go through his phone while he was napping after work, and needless to say, this marriage is over. Whoa! Ooh! I'll post a real update when I have everything sorted out. Whoa!
Oh, it's about to get crazy.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so. All right. Thoughts, theories?
I mean, maybe it's the classic, you don't want them until you can't have them.
That's right.
Jim's the husband's name, right?
Jim, yeah.
Jim
Good
was
old
just,
Jim.
was just like, oh, it's all good. She can come to the wedding, whatever. The second, not only was she taken, but taken by a rich Jon Snow?
Rich Jon Snow. And she's also, she's got a better haircut and a slimmer figure.
Dude, I mean, Jim's a whack ball for this.
And I wonder what he said. Do you think he sent desperation texts? You think he sent like messages to Misha like,
I saw you and I realized that actually I've always been in love with you all my whole life.
I think he's gonna be like, yeah, I'll leave her for you.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yep.
okay.
That's what's gonna happen. I'm calling it.
All right.
Let's
get. We got some comments. Stuck in my mind. 77 says it's giving bitter. Can't imagine how that must have been for you. Says a lot about his character, to be honest. OP says it felt a lot like watching a kid get upset at another kid for playing with a toy they personally never wanted to play with in the first place, if that makes any sense. And guys, I'm just going to go right to the update. Here we go.
Oh boy.
Pretty much the day after my original post, I got some PMs from people suggesting that I go through my husband Jim's phone to see if he and Misha were truly just friends before this, and that nothing romantic happened between them that would explain his reaction at the wedding. He always takes a 45-minute nap after work, and so I used that as my opportunity to swipe his phone from where it was charging on his desk so that I could look through it. I've seen him put in this passcode a ton of times, so that wasn't an issue. OP, now you're the a-hole.
Uh-oh, you snooping.
You're betraying a man in his most sacred hour? Nap time?
Nappy time.
Clearly, I'm just kidding. But if you feel like you got to snoop, there's already bigger problems.
Yeah.
I didn't find anything in his text messages with her, but I know that Jim goes on Instagram a lot, so I checked there too. The immediate red flag was that he'd used an app lock that required a passcode to access Instagram, but the dumb butt used the same passcode that he uses to unlock his phone.
Oops.
So I got into it right away. And what would you know? I go to his messages with Misha and find messages from him the morning after our wedding, telling her how beautiful she'd looked that night, how much he'd missed her, how he felt that her boyfriend being there spoiled his opportunity to catch up with her, and that he was desperate to meet up with her.
Oh, dude.
Misha never replied to these messages, and he sent some more to her later that day.
Oh no.
Hey.
No, I thought that was gonna be it, but it's gonna be worse.
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, being right never felt so terrible.
Right?
Ugh. Just, ugh. You open the phone with all these messages on the screen, you can smell the desperation oozing from the pixels.
I don't like it.
Ugh. I won't get into what he said because they were very personal insults that were frankly just gross, but just think about the kind of stuff you would read on that Nice Guys subreddit. Misha left him on red, and when I clicked on her account, it appears that she's blocked him. I scrolled through their messages quite far back, and I believe nothing romantic has happened between them. Yeah, I think you can believe that just based on how Misha reacted.
Yep.
Which was immediate, oh, ooh, blocked? Blocked. I wish that was all. But looking into his other conversations on Instagram, I found that he's been messaging other girls on there. They seemed like aspiring Instagram model types from our area. Did you click on one of those ads? There's hot local aspiring Instagram models types in your area. They want to talk to you.
Click 3 weird laws that aspiring Instagram models in your area are going to follow. Also, do you want to meet up with them?
Most of these conversations were just him shooting his shot and getting left on red, but others had evolved into flirting, and 2 of them resulted in spicy texting.
Oh, God.
And the most embarrassing part of it all, the noodles he was sending to these women weren't even of him. I know what his body looks like, and he doesn't have chiseled abs, and isn't that well endowed.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Bro needs a lot of help.
Dang, dude. Bro's so pathetic, he's become pathetological.
Okay, wait a second. I have to ask this very quickly. What is worse, him actually sending nudes of himself or using someone else?
I think, funny enough, using someone else.
Yeah.
If I'm like a partner, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, my partner doesn't even have it going on enough to send pictures of himself to these women. Not only Is he cheating on me, but he's even insecure about cheating on me?
Yeah.
Like, that is double bad.
As Hannah says, it's just getting so sad. Like, yeah, this is just sad.
Ugh.
Like, golly.
At least you won't have to have this guy is your husband anymore.
Yep.
So I think he must have found a man's profile on some adult website and used those pictures and just cropped the face out. These two conversations happened in the past 6 months. I ended up texting his mom and his brother from my phone, asking them to come and pick him up from the apartment, and then I went to wake him up. I told him that I knew about the girls he was messaging on Instagram and that he needed to pack a bag and get out before I started throwing his stuff onto the street and causing a scene. He started crying and begging me not to remove him from our house and swore that they were just messages and that he would never actually cheat on me.
Dude.
But I don't believe him for a second.
You've already cheated, my guy. You've already done it.
I think your clear, aching desire to cheat on her with Misha, though, pretty clear, right? Even if nothing else had happened,
yes,
just the messages you sent to Misha would have been enough to be like, all right, so we're not doing this, right?
The Misha messages in terms of him reaching out, wanting to get with her, and all the messages afterwards of oh, if he doesn't get his way, he will turn into a nasty monster baby boy. So I'm all the way out. That's a no for me, dog.
Disgusting. Then he had the nerve to tell me that he didn't want me to tell anyone else about what he'd done, but I had left the room and started ignoring him by that point. He left with his mom and brother and is staying there now, from what I know. I've blocked him on everything for the time being until I'm ready to tell him that I'm seeking annulment. Thankfully, where I'm from, you can get one almost no questions asked as long as you haven't been married for longer than 30 days, and I've already looked into the process. I haven't really left my apartment at all this week, and I've been calling in sick to work because I don't feel like I can face people. I'm just so embarrassed that I've wasted over 2 years on this man, and that I married him in the first place. I don't feel like I can even talk to people about this, so posting here has helped, and I'd like to thank you all for your kind words, advice, and support. I might reach out to Misha when the dust is settled, but I think I'll need to build up some courage for that. And we have a second update 4 months later.
4 months later? I'm afraid. Because what happened that warranted a whole update 4 months later?
Maybe just chatting with Misha. Hopefully it's just a nice little Misha chat.
Maybe her and Misha become besties. That would be great. That would be an awesome update.
Yeah, and they live happily ever after.
I hope so.
Let's get into this second update.
Let's see it.
With much mystery and intrigue.
Ooh.
Hello, everyone. I just thought I'd give an update to my situation since I still get messages of support on here every week or so. You'll be glad to hear that I was able to get the annulment and I didn't have to go through a messy divorce with Jim.
Let's freaking go.
Let's go.
Yes.
I struck an agreement with him that I wouldn't tell a soul about his cheating or what happened with Misha and would leave him alone forever if he agreed to the annulment and got it over quickly. I did end up sticking to my end of the bargain, but it ended up not mattering because it turns out his brother is quite the gossip and let the cat out of the bag over Christmas after getting into an argument with Jim while wasted.
Nice. Justice has a way of being served.
Yeah, was that JD? JD, is that the Justice Department or Jack Daniels?
Oh,
boom.
Nice one.
A lot of Jim's family were pissed and asked for the money they contributed to his half of the wedding fund back.
Ooh.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And some of our mutual friends have cut contact with him. A couple of our friends plastered everything on Facebook and humiliated him. And it was interesting to watch the back and forth between them and Jim, honestly. I lived in our apartment and covered the rent on my own while he lived at his parents' until the lease ended back in January. Now I'm living with my dad, and I plan to stay here for a while and take things easy. In January, I also tried reaching out to Misha via text, asking if she'd like to meet up for coffee to talk about anything. I never got a response directly from her, but a few days later, I got a call from her number, and it was her boyfriend on the other end.
Oh.
He said they were both sorry for what had happened to me, and that they hope I'm doing well, but that Misha thought it was best to cease any contact as this whole ordeal had made her anxiety and mental health problems spiral, and had landed her back in therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't have to be involved, you know? I totally respect that.
Mental health issues aside, if I'm Misha, I'm like, no, I'm not talking to you. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say anything.
100%.
Leave
It's
me
like,
out of it.
I was pulled into this. I did literally nothing.
Yeah.
And all this crap happened. So
I'm out. I don't want to really talk to you, and I don't feel you shouldn't really want to talk to me. Just leave.
yeah.
Leave.
Yeah.
I did ask her why she never told me that Jim had messaged her the day after the wedding, and her boyfriend confessed that he advised her not to get involved. His direct words were, "I'm sorry to sound rude, but it's not her circus." Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little disappointed that she doesn't want to talk to me, but I get where she's coming from, and I can't force her to do anything. To be honest, I think she's been looking for a way to divorce herself from our hometown and the people she and Jim knew back in high school for a while now. As for me, I'm also in therapy as I want to sort through these feelings and get back to feeling good about myself again before I even think about entering the dating scene.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can enter our scene night or day, rain or shine. All you need is to take yourself over to Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can tap into the full episodes with stories just like this one. Over 2,000 episodes. Over 60 days worth of listening hours. Wow, wow, wow.
Very nice.
We do have a little bit more story here. Do we have any thoughts, Sophia?
I think we have at least 5 minutes worth of thoughts.
Oh.
I think you should tell your thoughts.
We have so many thoughts.
Granted.
You know, Jim has exposed himself to be the like quintessential nice guy. The guy who is so insecure, you know, cheating at the drop of a hat. Who knows what else he's done in the passive relationship? This is just like recently. Would have got with Misha if she let him. Like it's just everything he does. He's inverse of Midas touch. Everything he touches turns to Dookie. So I think we need to take him where the Dookie is, and that is the garbaggio, and just toss him out.
Leave him behind.
Leave him behind.
Don't get bitter. Don't get nasty. Just leave him in the past.
Yeah, get your therapy, get your self-love on, and just keep on trucking. That's what I think.
I agree. I agree with all of that. Do you have any idea the raw willpower I had to channel to not cut you off after you said Jim exposed himself? Not immediately jump
Dakota,
in
I'm
with
proud of you.
Well, yeah, he exposed himself, except he exposed actually some random guy when he sent those pictures to those Instagram models. Zing!
I'm very proud of you.
I held that in.
Dude, you
For
crushed
as
that.
long as possible. I still let it out.
No, that was perfect timing.
I'm powerless.
It was perfect timing, dude.
I still...
I'm very proud of you.
A prisoner of my own insane, twisted mind.
His own brain.
Okay, but you know what? We're ready.
Let's get into it.
We're ready. We're ready to finish this story.
You haven't finished the story yet?
So,
Buckle in.
I thought you had finished the story.
huh?
Okay, you can go. You're
What?
good. Perfect.
Sophia, we're gonna iron these out. I've also been firm about ending friendships with anyone who's taken Jim's side, as I don't want him finding his way into my life again. So far, he stayed away from me and hasn't tried to contact me, although his mom reached out over Christmas to ask me if there was any chance I might forgive Jim and take him back,
Oh, no.
as in her opinion, you two are just meant to be together.
No.
Imagine she calls Jim and she's like, look, I wasn't made aware about what your mommy thought about this situation. Now that mommy's told me she wants us to be together, I guess I'll give it a shot.
No, mommy. No.
I didn't respond to her, and I've blocked her on pretty much everything now.
There we go.
Thank you again for all your kind words and support. I'm certain leaving that a-hole would have been harder for me had I not had hundreds of comments backing me up. And that is the end of that story.
Positive social proof. We love to see it.
We do.
Good for OP.
We do.
Good for OP. Get away from all of the madness. Get far away and live your life.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You don't even need to pick it apart anymore.
Get in
It's
the
just-
mess? We already know. We already know it's a mess.
You should high five yourself every day. You're like, I dodged that bullet.
Yes.
Let's freaking go.
Yeah, thank God the annulment was good.
Mm,
It was easy. My goodness.
we did it.
But ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of that episode.
It is.
It's a travesty.
Wow. Well, and you know what? You know what they say when it's the end of the episode.
What do they say, Dakota?
If you love us, make sure you subscribe.
If you, if you love us, make sure to subscribe, dude. You messed. Literally, it totally threw me off.
Because I said two instead of you.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just like totally.
Okay. So, if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.